Hey guys, how's it going? Srey here. Today I want to talk about Muradin. Muradin is a frontline bruiser brawler slash tank, and he is not only one of the tankiest heroes in the game, he's one of the most aggressive and most mobile tanks in the game as well. So he's one of only three kind of main tanks being a tank that you can run only one of, you only have to run of one on a team, so you don't have to run two because they're tanky enough and they kind of fill the role well enough. So there's Muradin, ETC, and Johanna. Out of the three, Muradin is a kind of a balance between ETC and Johanna. ETC is pretty much pure engage, and Johanna is pretty much pure peel and has maximum tankiness. Muradin's somewhere in the middle, but he also has more damage than both of them. In fact, he's one of the best 1v1ers in the game once you get to late game. It's almost impossible to kill, and pretty much the only hero that can do it is a Tychus. So let's look at his abilities really quick. His Q is a short range kind of stun, and it is a 1.25-second stun on a 10-second cooldown, and it stuns the first target. His W is Thunderclap, and it does AoE around him and slows attack speed by 25%. So this is obviously good versus heroes that rely on basic attacks. His E is a jump, and you can jump over things, obviously, and it also applies a 25% resistance. So you're not going to use the resistant in any way specifically most of the time. Pretty much if you need to jump, you're going to be moving out of the way of a skill shot anyway, although it could help if you're being hit by a power blast. You could time it at the right time to reduce the damage. But pretty much if you're jumping into a fight, it's going to give you resistant for 2 seconds. And if you're jumping out of the fight, it helps you keep you alive a little bit better. His passive is Second Wind, and when you're out of combat for 4 seconds, you heal an incredible amount. In addition to that, um, you also restore additional health. So you restore more health when you're below 40%, and you just restore health when you're not below 40%. So this is really good when you're out of a fight. So if you're in the middle of a fight, you get really low, you can hop out, and then after a few seconds, maybe like 10 seconds, instead of tapping a well, you can come back in, and you'll be at a pretty decent health number. So Muradin is good in every single comp. He's good against every single comp, and he's just a really, really solid hero overall. There's never a reason you wouldn't pick Muradin, but there's sometimes there could be a reason where he might be better. So if they have really weak backline, so say they have Jaina, say they have a KT, say they have a Vala, say they have a Gul'dan, any kind of these squishy backline heroes, Muradin is very, very strong versus multiple of those because the enemy team requires Peel to deal with Muradin, especially once he hits late game, and that's because of his talents, which we'll go over shortly. So his talents are at level 1 are Block, Perfect Storm, and Third Wind. So Block is just standard block. Perfect Storm increases the damage. It's kind of a stacking talent, and Third Wind is going to drastically improve your Second Wind talent. Okay, so block is just, it doesn't, if you're going to go block, you might as well go to Third Wind because Third Wind is just restores more health than block prevents. So block is going to be a little bit better in team fights, and Third Wind is going to give you massive sustain outside of very specific fights. And even in fights, Third Wind is way better than block because you can hop out for a few seconds and then you go back in with really good health numbers. Perfect Storm, I really don't. I see some Muradins taking this, and I really don't understand why. I mean, competitive wise, it's going to reduce the mana cost on Q by 25%, which is pretty much irrelevant. Just a tiny bit off of Q, and the more important part is here that it stacks. So even if you hit, 10, 20 heroes, it's going to be 50 to 100 damage. That's You can probably get more than that throughout the game too, but it's not a reliable DPS number. So if you add, at level 20, this is 241 damage. You add 50 to 100, maybe 150 even, and that's a nice amount of damage, but it's not the reason you're going to pick Muradin. You're going to get way more value throughout the game from Third Wind, in my opinion. I think this is just a really, really strong talent, and I think it's broken compared to the rest of these. So if you look at the numbers here, it's 175 compared to 116, and it's 349 compared to 232. So it's basically, it feels like a 50% increase. That's a huge increase on the healing. And more importantly, almost, is that it raises the threshold from 40% to 60%. So you have a much greater threshold to get the bonus healing. So this, again, is very, 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 very effective when you get poked low in the fight and you run around and you can come right back in the fight and be effective again. This also helps you throughout the entire game. Say you're even against a Tychus and Tychus chews up your entire health bar. Well, it literally doesn't matter if you're playing Muradin because you just run out of the fight, and in between laning phase and the objective, you can just heal up before anything happens. So this is very, very strong talent. I think it's a must-have at level 1. Before I actually go on, Muradin has a very standard talent build, and this is taken pretty much exclusively on Muradin. There were some Korean games where there was a different build taken, but I don't think that was a serious build. And for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to recommend the one that I think is by far and large the standard on Muradin. So at level 4, you're going to go Thunderburn, and you have Sledgehammer, Reverberation, Crowd Control. So Sledgehammer increases the damage of your Q to non-hard structures, and basically you have better siege. Reverberation increases the slow and duration of the attack speed slow, and Crowd Control reduces the cooldown per enemy hit and gives back some mana. So Sledgehammer, again, Muradin, not really a PvP hero. Yes, this is nice, but not really effective. So you can obviously go Q build and go Stormbolt build, but I don't think this is effective whatsoever. You're not going to have any impact in fights. Reverberation increases the attack speed slow by from 25% to 50%, which is a large increase, and the duration moderately from 2.5 to 3. But again, even if you're against like an Illidan, you're against the Tracer, you're against the Vala, I think it's more effective that you go Thunderburn. I mean, it's only 25% slow, but they're going to be slow twice as long because it leaves the second Thunderclap that applies the slow as well. And more importantly, you need Thunderburn for the talents later in this build. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So Thunderburn is very important in that regard. In addition, it also provides a bit more damage to help you wave clear. So the wave clear helps a lot from this. Crowd control kind of feels like just a shitty Thunderburn. And you also need to hit targets for it to be effective. I don't see the reason taking crowd control over Thunderburn.
Absolutely.
You have Piercing Bolt, Landing Momentum, Skullcracker, and Iron Forge Momentum at level 7. Piercing Bolt lets you pierce a target. This used to be standard a long time ago, but no longer. Landing Momentum, yes, the 25% movement speed is nice for 5 seconds, but not really critical at all. Especially since you have slows to keep them from moving and stuns, you don't need to have the increased movement speed. Skullcracker is a recent kind of favorite, and because it got a little bit of a buff, and it's nice. And it's when you're there auto attacking targets just repeatedly over and over again and stunning them, it's pretty annoying for them and it increases your damage kind of moderately early game. The problem is you need Iron Forge Momentum for this build, and when you have Iron Forge Momentum, yes, it only reduces the cooldown of your Q and your W, but you're usually not you wouldn't use Dwarf Frost multiple times in a fight anyway. So when you have Thunderburn at level 4, and you have Iron Forge Momentum at level 7, what's going to happen is the procs of your W. So what do I mean by this? If I take Iron Forge Momentum here, so by procs, you'll see when I get to later talents what I mean. When I press W here, that's one proc, and that's another. So if I just reduce the cooldown here quickly and attack this, you can see that the procs of my W come up very quickly. And so that's two procs there. You have one proc, then you have just a couple seconds, another proc there, and you can keep going. And basically what I'm saying is we're level 13, which is healing static, which is when you get for every hero that you hit with Thunderclap or the Thunder Burn, because Thunder Burn works off of for healing static, you heal 5%. So if you jump into the middle of their team and you use Thunderclap and then Thunder Burn procs, you're going to be hitting 4 to 5 heroes, you know, at least one time, so probably twice, and you're going to be healing like 40 to 50% of your max health. That is a lot of healing for an ability that comes up with only an 8-second cooldown, and you can auto attack to reduce the cooldown to like 4 seconds or something. So very, very effective talent to have momentum or Iron Forge momentum plus the Thunderburn with healing static at 13. So we'll go into that in a moment, but let's continue on at level 10. So Avatar is the heroic you're going to want to get at 10, and Haymaker is not the heroic you want to get. So Avatar, yes, it only increases your health, but it increases your health by, you know, almost 50%, like 40%, and it has a pretty long duration, 20 seconds. And the thing is that it gives you 2300 health when you need it. It doesn't just increase your max health and if you're forced to heal it, you're instantly gaining 2300 health at level 20, of course, which is quite a lot of health, especially if you're being bursted. And in addition to this, it has really, really good synergy with healing static, again, which is what this entire build is basically centered around. So since you have more maximum health, the percentage of each 5% that you're hitting for is going to be more impactful overall because you have a higher health pool. So the 5% really is like, 7% or something of your normal max health. So you get increased healing benefit from healing static. The other option is Haymaker. I actually think Haymaker is really good. The problem is that you have to be really good to use it, and it doesn't really work with this build. So the problem is that you're probably just going to get blown up if you don't have Avatar. Avatar really gives you a lot of health in fights, and it gives you a lot of staying power, and it makes you pretty much impossible to kill in the fight. So Haymaker, yes, it's very impactful. Like it can be really good. You can get a lot of kills with it, but most of the time, Avatar is just gonna be better because you're gonna be able to stay alive because you're gonna be able to just stay on their backline and just stay in the fight. So at 13, Burning Rage, Healing Static, Thunder Strike, Spell Shield. As I said, Healing Static is the talent you want here by and large. The entire build is based around it. It's not that these talents are necessarily bad. It's just that the entire build revolves around the Healing Static. So the entire idea here is you jump into their team, you pop Avatar, you press W, and then you get a stun off, and you just auto attack. And you just auto attack, auto attack, auto attack until you kill something. And you're gonna be able to heal a lot. You have over 8,000 health with this, and you're healing 5% per hero hit. And both of these procs of your W will heal you for 5% per your hero hit. So you're gonna be getting an absolutely insane amount of healing. And once you hit 16, you'll have Given the Axe, and that means that your auto attacks are going to be doing a crazy amount of damage. So at 13 here, Burning Rage isn't, I mean, it's 50 damage per second, which is not a lot of damage compared to the healing that you're getting from this. So at level 10 here, or at level 20, sorry, let's just get some damage done on me. Hopefully my passive won't proc up too much. At level 20 here, hitting one hero will heal you for 293 health. And Burning Rage is going to deal 50 damage per enemy nearby. So you can either heal for 293 per hero hit, remember it procs multiple times, or you can do 50 damage per enemy around you, which is basically not even comparable. So the amount of effectiveness out of healing static is overwhelming. Thunderstrike actually does quite a lot of damage to a single target, and it also procs off Thunderburn at level 4. But again, the build here is based around healing static. Spell Shield again doesn't prevent nearly as much damage as healing static will offer you. So level 16, we have 5 options: Dwarf Launch, Heavy Impact, Given the Axe, Imposing, and Stone Form. So I personally always get Given the Axe no matter what. I think it's a really strong talent. So it's going to increase the damage of your auto attacks by 60%. Now the important thing here is that it's slowed, rooted, or stunned, but because Muradin has both a stun and a slow, and your Thunderburn procs twice, you're going to be able to permanently slow or stun the enemy team. So you'll always have this available. So this should read increase your auto attack damage by 60%. Muradin has fairly high auto attack damage at 213. You can see here that you attack at 340 damage per auto attack at level 20. And you're impossible to kill as Muradin. So that means that your damage can't be ignored. You also have stuns, you have slows. If the enemy Vala vaults away, you just jump right back on her and you get right back to her attacking her. And you're able to permanently slow her. So, and you have Avatar, which makes you impossible to kill. You're going to do way too much damage. So there's no way of any kind of ranged hero can possibly 1v1 you. You can literally 1v2 like a Vala Jaina or something like that. There's no way they can kill you, as long as you stay on the Vala in that case. The other options here are increase the range and impact radius. Again, not too good. Now, heavy impact is another option that you could be getting at level 16, and this is not something that I like taking, but it could be good in a kind of a CC comp. So even though it's only a 0.5-second stun, it's enough so that when you jump on them, you can instantly stun them and they can't move. So it's basically a guaranteed 1.75-second stun when you add it to the stun of your Stormbolt. And that can be very obnoxious when you have a CC comp, where you jump onto them and it's a guaranteed stun and they can't move, and your allies can be the follow-up. So I would say in coordinated play, heavy impact has its place, but I still prefer giving the axe just the way I like to play. You also have Imposing Presence and Stoneform, but at this time, really, like I said, the entire build here is centered around jumping on their team, popping Avatar, and just going absolutely insane on their backline, and there's nothing they can do about it. And getting the axe lets you not only be a nuisance, but it lets you literally kill their whole team if they don't deal with you. So they have to deal with the main tank on the enemy team, you, or they die. So that means they have to peel. And in Hero League, I think Muradin is probably the best tank in the game because of all of these things added together. So you have third wind, which gives you really, really good sustain. So even if you get poked, just run out of the fight for a few seconds and then you come right back in. And you have significant cooldown reduction. You're impossible to kill because of Avatar. You're impossible to kill in sustained fights because you're healing static. And once you hit 16, you can just literally kill their back line because given the axe is that strong. Now, level 20, you're going to go Hardened Shield. I don't think Rewind is the best option here. I think it's gimmicky, and I think it is it has a little bit positive outlook on things where what I mean by that is Hardened Shield, you can jump in, and again, now you have something else that makes you literally impossible to kill. So you can jump in, they use all their cooldowns on you, you Hardened Shield it, and then you can heal up. And you're gonna be on their backline for at least like 10, 15, 20 seconds without them being able to do absolutely anything at all. I think it's way more effective than a 30% duration increase and a CC and reduce CCs while you're in Avatar form. And in addition, if you are being stunned while in Avatar form, you're still gonna die. Um, you're still gonna take damage because you're still gonna die. With Hardened Shield, you might still be CC'd, but you won't be able to die from the damage. So you'll be just as good and able to keep going. So again, the ideal combo is jump in, you pop Avatar, and then just about they throw their burst damage and you Hardened Shield, and then you have your cooldowns of your Stormbolt and your Thunderclap back up, and you just keep going and auto attacking, and your Dwarf Toss back up, and you just keep going auto attacking. So Muradin is a very, very strong tank. He's been one of the most dominant tanks in the game for years, at least several months, and he doesn't look like he's going anywhere anytime soon. ETC is more of a burst engage tank, and Muradin can be a burst engage tank as well, but he has a little bit less hard CC, a little bit less utility, and more just kind of brawly frontline, really hard to deal with. And I think he's one of the best tanks in the game in Hero League. Maybe besides Chen, just because Chen is able to push structures so well, it can also be such a nuisance to deal with. But besides that, I think Muradin is the best late game tank. So once you hit 16, I think he's the best tank. I think he's better than Chen, but Chen is a little bit better early on. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, thanks for watching.